ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. Okay, so we were right knowledge, right knowledge. We did the 13th verse last time or the 12th?
20th.
20th? Oh,
20th we have done.
we have been up to 20. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. So, any questions, clarifications that you all need before we go ahead? Or it's all clear? Okay. It's all clear up to now.
Swami?
Who's that?
Yeah, Neeta.
हाँ नीता बेन बोलिए. You have a question or a clarification?
Can I ask exactly pertaining to the class? I only wanted to know meaning of a word. May I ask for some
Yeah,
other time?
please ask. Yes.
Yeah, it was. What is the meaning of Vyavrutti?
Which verse?
Vyavrutti.
Which verse?
No, it is not in this verse. That's what I said. It is not.
So, what is the context in which it is used? Because in Sanskrit, huh?
Gayatri is a condemn of
Sorry, I can't hear
all
you.
the Vedas, and it Gayatri's condensed form is.
You are not clear at all. I'm sorry.
Okay, Swamiji, some other time.
Okay.
I'll ask you some other time.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine.
So,
Okay.
Swamiji, if I might ask one question.
Yeah, shoot.
So Swamiji, the Jagrat Avastha, I am able to recollect both my dreams as well as the deep sleep experience.
Correct.
Does that give it any sort of superiority over the other two states, even at a Vyavaharik level?
Yeah, for Vyavahara we will take the Jagrata as the thing. But when you are analyzing about the reality of the states, yeah, you can't prove it. Yeah. For all functional purposes, we will take the waking as a real one. Yeah. Otherwise, someone can always turn around and say, Swamiji, you teach in waking, I will hear in dream. So to avoid that possibility, we will take for all Vyavahara, waking as the reality. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay. It's only there, nowhere else. Okay. Yeah. Functionally, yeah. But if you ask the dreamer, it may be a different proposition.
Correct, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, now let's go ahead then. अविद्या प्रभवं सर्वं असत् तस्मादिदं जगत् तद्वता दृश्यते यस्मात् सुषुप्ते न च गृह्यते. अविद्या प्रभवं यस्मात्, okay, सर्वं. Avidya prabhavam sarvam. Everything is a manifestation due to avidya. Okay. Asat tasmad idam jagat. Avidya karyatvat asat, he says. Because it's a product of avidya, it is taken as asat. Says tadvada drishyate yasmat sushuptaha na grihyate. Therefore he says both the waking dream, both of them are only seen in its own conditions, in its own state. Sushuptena drishyate. So what argument is using here is that reality is something that has to continue, has to be constant. Here neither dream nor waking is constant. First, they negate each other, number one. Number two, both are not seen in deep sleep. Like if you had the limited example, if you take clay and pot, when the pot is there, also clay is there. Whereas pot comes and goes. Therefore, clay gains a greater reality, not the pot. So here, using the same logic. When waking is there, dream is not there. Dream is there, waking is not. Both are not there in deep sleep. And avidya is constant. In waking, dream and deep sleep, avidya is constant. Avidya is constant. So is avidya the reality? No, avidya is that which is responsible for the three states. But avidya itself is objectified. No? Consciousness is also there in all the three states. Okay. Now, what is this thing in terms of self-knowledge? Remember, the whole topic is supposed to be on right knowledge. So now, after having said this much, he gets into that. What is right knowledge? Okay. Vidya vidye shruti prokte ekatva anyadhiyo hinah tasma sarva prayatnena shastrai vidya vidiyate. Because what is vidya and avidya? Both are said in the Shruti, he says. Ekatvam anyadhiya hinaha asmakam. Naha asmakam for us. Anyadhiya and ekatvadhiya. The recognition of non-duality is vidya, jnanam. Otherwise, okay, recognition of plurality, etc., not recognizing the non-duality is avidya. Be careful here. Because he has said anyadhi is avidya, anyadhi. So ekatvam will be taken as vidya, anyadhi will be taken as avidya. That means what? Perception of duality will be taken as avidya. What is the problem of such a limited view of it? Can anyone tell me that? Come on, Bandra students. Where are all my Maharathis gone?
Sir, could you repeat the question once?
Why is only if what is the problem of taking only perception of duality as avidya?
Swamiji, can I say something?
Yeah?
Even after self-knowledge, the duality is perceived at the functional level.
That is not the question here. No, that doesn't apply here. That is badhitam after having negated, so that's not a problem.
Knowledge happens not just by perception, it happens through other means of knowledge also.
What is the problem of talking about avidya as only perception of duality?
then, Swamiji, can I try?
Yeah?
Because then you will not be able to negate the other things as mithya. Because if you are taking only perception,
No,
then,
that is not the. No,
touch,
no.
smell-
You're off the track.
No?
You're off track.
Swamiji, can I try?
Yep.
If we say perception only as a duality, as a problem, then we cannot negate the mind. How can we have then our
Because mind is
influence and
duality
everything?
anyway. Okay. I wanted to see how you all are thinking. Okay. Yeah, anyone else?
Sundar.
Yeah, Sundararagan.
Yeah. So it is like the example what you give. Don't say nothing is there. I'll back you with the book.
Yeah. Okay.
So if we
Yeah.
say that it's almost saying that it's not there, but it is experienced, and in fact that is the cause of a lot of problems. We cannot just like that negate.
You are close. You're close.
Swamiji,
Yeah?
can I say
Who's that?
Gupta?
Ah, yeah, Boleji.
Sir, basically the single thing is only raw material. From raw material, the Jivatma has come, but everything has come. So that's why it
No,
has to be the-
no, off track. Sorry, off track. Okay.
Can I say something?
One
Who's that? Anusha. Yes, Anusha.
Yeah.
Please.
how does he include Sushupti there? There is no
Good point.
perception of it.
Very good point.
And absence of knowledge,
Yes.
both.
Excellent point. Because, okay, let me put it technically for you. Excellent point, Anusha. If only perception of duality is taken as avidya, you are equating avidya and adhyasa. Avidya is called as adhyasa. In fact, there is a whole school of thought from a place called Hole Narsapur. You will find all the sannyasis there have the word Indra attached to it. Sachidanendraha, Jnanendraha, okay, Kaivalyanendraha. All of them, there is a whole school which says avidya itself is called as adhyasa. There is no separate avidya. It's a small offshoot of Vedanta. No big issue except this small point. Other than this, there is no difference between what they say and what we say. But this is a huge difference because you are not after negation of duality. That mithyatya nishchaya will take care of it. You are after negation of ignorance, avidya. Avidya and adhyasa have a karya karana sambandha, a relationship of cause and effect. The very fact that there is adhyasa, taking the duality as real itself is because I don't know the adhishtanam. The reality I don't know. Therefore, ignorance of the reality makes me project adhyasa. Therefore, adhyasa is a product of ignorance. Therefore, it is not enough to say only perception of duality is ignorance. That's why Shankara also uses anyadi. Vidya is right knowledge. Ekatvam vidya. Non-duality is right knowledge. Anyadi. Anyadi will mean perception of duality and also non-perception of reality. Ignorance of reality. Perception of duality is in waking and dream. Non-perception of reality, only non-perception of reality Ignorance of reality is there in deep sleep. Okay. Therefore, it is the non-perception of duality that's important. Therefore, Anyadihi includes both. If you take only opposite, immediately the mind thinks in binary systems all the time. That's why when we invented the computer, there is also binary language. Because we are thinking like that. Therefore, you flip on the opposite side. No. It's not only duality, it is also ignorance, not knowing. Therefore, both has to be included. And not knowing is not mere absence of knowledge. We have seen all this in the Adhyasa Bhashya. Correct? If you are projecting a snake, that means that avidya has got some sort of reality. Kinchit bhavam asti. That is why it is presented as sat asadbhyam anirvachaniyam. That which cannot be categorically said as real or unreal. Unreal meaning non-existent. Avidya cannot be presented as existent or non-existent. It seems to have an in-between status, exactly like all adhyasa. Why? Because between the cause and the effect there has to be similarities. Is this clear for all of you?
Swamiji, please repeat the last part, no? And Swamiji, in the first part of the explanation, that is the explanation for samadhi also, no? In samadhi also the perception of duality will not be there, so that is then avidya is still there, so that is how we don't equate.
Avidya may be there, avidya may not be there. If a person who knows the truth gets into samadhi, avidya is not there.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so Swamiji, the last part which you said.
Last part meaning what?
Not knowing is not absence of knowledge. After that the explanation,
Yeah. Because when we say avidya is with respect to Vedanta, okay, in this context, okay, generally in the world, if you take it as absence of knowledge, there is not a problem. I don't know. Generally, there is no issue. But when we are saying that snake was projected because I did not know the rope, ignorance of the rope was responsible for the snake. That snake has some sort of existence, isn't it? A very mithya, subjective existence it has. So, the ignorance also should have that same degree of existence. Otherwise, how can it produce a rope? Nothing will come from nothing. Basic premise. Nothing comes from nothing. Many religions talk about God creating something out of nothing, which defies all logic. There is no demonstrable experience there. Example there. So we are willing to give them 35% passing marks by saying what they mean, what the scripture means is God did not create something from anything else, nothing else. We add that else to it to make that religion sound sane. Otherwise it's insane. How can you say out of nothing something came? Then they'll give a belief oriented argument saying, oh, that is because he is God, he can do anything. If he can do anything, why did he establish all the laws? Man mane kar sakta tha na, kuch bhi. But we find that there is a lot of intelligence in the creation. Therefore, it is not some fancy. There is an order there. Cause effect relationships are there. Therefore, this nothing from nothing. Therefore, if your ignorance has created that snake, that ignorance must have the same degree of existence. It cannot be mere absence of knowledge. Kinchit bhavam asti. We have seen all this in Adhyasa Bhashya. You know, I know that some people here attend a lot of classes. It is a modern issue. It comes from FOMO. You know what is FOMO, no? Fear of missing out. It is a fear of missing out that makes you attend one class after another class after another class. It's more important to do a lot of reflection and going over what you have already learnt. Really, more than couple of classes, not necessary. For the level at which you all are, a couple of classes is fine. But I need more thinking happening, more reflecting happening. That is more important. Anusha managed to answer this class. She attends only one class. Correct, Anusha? How many classes you attend? Only one. Sometimes Saturday she is there, once in a way, when she has free time. But she's thinking on it. Thinking on it. The thinking is important. It is a thinking that makes you assimilate what you have heard. I mean, I do try to push it into your mind by also entertaining you with some jokes, even though some of them may be PJs, etc. But still, okay. So they will go home with the thinking, analyzed. Tat chintanam, tat kathanam, anyonyat tat prabodhanam. Most important thing in the learning. Especially when you are learning in society with other things. As a karma yogi, when you are learning, this becomes very, very important. Assimilation of knowledge. Okay. All right. With that comment. All right. Anyadhiyo hinaha. Okay, therefore, Ekatva Jnanam is Vidya. Not knowing that and taking the duality as real is Ajnanam. Tasmat Sarva Prayatnena. With great effort, with great Tatparya, etc. Shastre Vidya Vidiyate. In the Shastra, in the Upanishad Gita, etc. Okay. Vidya Vidiyate. Vidya is explained. Okay, is demonstrated with great effort. Tattvamasi 9 times. 9 times. Yeah. So all that elaborateness of the teaching. And the parampara elaborates it even further. If you look at the parampara, how much does it elaborate it? Yeah. Lot of elaboration is done in the parampara. A lot of elaboration is there in the parampara. Yeah. It keeps on. It keeps on saying things. It keeps on elaborating it. Commentaries, sub-commentaries, everything. Yeah. But if you are a good thinker, you will find Shankara Bhashyam unavoidable, you need it. Okay. Beyond that, one commentary after another commentary after another commentary. Not necessary if you are a good thinker. Because you will be able to develop the nuances yourself. If you have the base with you. Therefore, a lot of this importance is given on that mananam. That mananam. To challenge your understanding and explain it. Okay? Alright. Therefore, sarva prakare prayatnena. Okay? But very elaborately. The sampradaya, the shastra presents that knowledge. Ekatva jnanam is presented. Because it's completely different from anything you have heard. No? It's completely different from all your experiences. This Ekatva Jnanam is completely different from all your experiences. From anything that you have studied also. No? From anything that you have studied, from all your experiences is completely different from. Therefore, some effort is necessary to understand it. When you start studying, you look at Vedanta from the standpoint of your experiences and try to relate it. After some time, you take your stand in Vedanta and explain away your experiences in the light of Vedanta. Then it becomes more complete. Yeah. This is for yourself, not to explain things to the world, okay? Don't do that. Myself, yeah. Oh, myself. Tomorrow, if your child comes and asks you something, don't take the stand on Vedanta and try to explain. No. Yeah. He'll never come to Vedanta then, even after 30 years. Okay. चित्ते हि आदर्शवत् यस्मात् शुद्धे विद्या प्रकाशते यमैर्नित्यश्च यज्ञैश्च तपोभिस्तस्य शोधनम्. चित्ते हि आदर्शवत् यस्मात् शुद्धे सति. When the chittam, the mind, is clean, purified, like a clean, spotless mirror, Adarshavad. Okay? When the mind is Adarshavad, clean, Vidya Prakashate, how your face is reflected without any distortion. Similarly, when that clear mind is exposed to a teaching, the knowledge takes place. Remember, exposure to the teaching is understood. Just purifying your mind is not enough. You have a very clean mind. Good. I know people like that. Very clean people. My God. Not a drop of manipulation or chalam or... Sometimes you wonder whether they are fit to live in this society. That clean. But that doesn't mean they gain the knowledge automatically. So actually speaking, to gain the knowledge, remember Pariksha Lokan has to happen. And in Pariksha Lokan, when you are doing that, mind mein thoda gadbad ho jayega. You can't avoid it. That's the very process of living, okay? In any yuga, especially Kali Yuga, but in any yuga it is the same. If you are going to examine life and explore all the possibilities, the good, the bad, the ugly, the good, the bad, the ugly that is there, mind will have its issues. Nobody really goes through all experience of life and comes out completely unscathed. If you are coming out unscathed, means you are not grown. The experience has not been useful. Yeah, what has happened? Something should happen. Life should put you through some issues, ringers, some struggles, some anger, some guilt, some pain. रहना चाहिए. And that's only you have lived a life then. It's better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. समझिए, I loved and succeeded in it. Then you have booked for the next 30 years. Whereas he who loves and runs away lives to love another day. Joke, don't take it too seriously, okay? Don't take it too seriously. What I am trying to say is, thoda life's experiences are necessary. Okay? experiences are necessary. But the process is this mind, hurt, pain, guilt, anger. All this is part of the process. Part of the process. Therefore, you go through life's experiences, mature out. But maturity involves this baggage. Clear off that baggage. That is called a clean mind. That is a clean mind. I have seen people having a very clean mind but no life's experiences. Coming to Vedanta, having basic understanding of Vedanta, but no maturity of teaching. They become popular because people recognize that goodness in them. People recognize goodness. Somewhere you see that very clearly. Therefore, they have become popular because of that goodness. And probably the punya done in previous lifetimes. Not people like us who have done a lot of papa. Last lifetime, this lifetime. But you don't become great teachers because life experiences are missing. So your maturity of understanding is also doubtful. There is some insights and understanding. Nobody denies that. You cannot sit in with a traditional teacher and not get insights and understanding. But that nishtha, etc., shaky. Because experiences are not there. Experience is mature. Therefore, you need life's experiences to mature you out. And then, all the baggage cleared off. It's a very dicey situation. Because people come and ask me, Swamiji, can we not bring up our children ekdam clear and they'll come to Vedanta and understand it? Nahi hota hai. The Shastra says it, I have seen it both. I have validated that in seeing, I know how many teachers know. A few hundred teachers I have known. Many more students. Okay. It doesn't work like that. Therefore, go through those life's experiences. Pariksha Lokan, Mundaka makes it very, very clear. And our local experience, see, in India, there is a great amount of folk wisdom which one has to validate and take. 100 चूहे खाके बिल्ली हज पर गए. अरे 100 चूहे खाए इसके लिए हज पर जाता हूँ. नहीं तो क्यों हज पर जाएगा? Why do you need to go on a pilgrimage? Because I have done this. Yeah. It's important. It's important. Okay. Therefore, if any of you feels guilty about doing a few wrong things, you are on the right track. Okay. Right track. Now clear out the baggage. Okay. Clear out the baggage. Yeah. Clear out the baggage. How? Yamaihi nityaischa yajnaischa tapobhitasya shodhanam. He gives you only a clue, not elaborate, okay? Okay, he says, Yamaihi, by Yamaniyamas, basically your value structure, clarifying your value structure, etc. Yamaniyama comes from yoga. It is not from yoga, it's from life actually, okay? All the Yamaniyama is from life. Viveka Vairagya Shat Sampatti. That Shat Sampatti is Yamaniyama. Or Amanitvam, Adambitvam, Ahimsa, Kshanti, Arjavam, Acharya Upasanam, Shaucham, Stairyam, Atma Vinigraha. याद है? ये सब पढ़ा था एक टाइम. Where is it from?
Chapter 13.
Huh?
Chapter 13.
Chapter 13.
Chapter 13.
Chapter 13, yes, the Gita. I know. Yeah. So, all that, Yamaihi, Nityaischa. In some translation, they have put it as Niyamaischa. But by Yama, Niyama is also understood. Okay. Nityaischa. Nitya Karma, etc. When you say Nitya Karma and Yama together, your Karma Yoga, Buddhi, etc. comes into the picture. Nitya Karmas, Nitya Naimittika Karmas. Duties that you do every day, including your worship of the Lord. Why? Especially when you are in society, especially when functioning in society, that bhakti has to be kept alive. So some amount of worship every day is a good thing to have in your life. Whatever works for you, we will see that in the next verse. Okay, and the next verse clarifies that more. But some Nitya Karma can be as simple as just lighting a lamp. You don't have to do an elaborate Shodasha Acharya Puja. You can make it simple, Panchupachara. Or light a lamp. Bang your head against the ground a few times. No? Will do. A sense of surrender. No? Yeah, sense of surrender. Yeah. Invoking the Lord and sense of surrender. Minimum. That's minimum. How long does it take to light a lamp and prostrate in front of the Lord? 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes including preparation. How long does it take? Or do a small little puja, offer a few things. Good, acha hai. Whatever. Bhakti comes in. Unless you're already a great bhakta. For your devotion, service, etc. is natural. You can tell the Lord, Lord, I'm yours, I'm here to be command and I'm yours. If you can say that, then fine. Okay, then fine. Yeah. I'll be a nimitta in your hand, that's all I ask for, nothing else. Itna bhakti hai to, okay. But if you don't have that, thoda ye acha hai. Okay, Nityesha. Yajnaischa. Yajna, more elaborate, once in a way. Yeah, more elaborate, yajna, homa, etc. Acha hai. Yeah. Good to do all that. So, tapobhihi, tapas. All this mental clearing up, no? Grief recovery, therapy, stepping out of your comfort zone, all that is called tapas. Simple tapas. How often do you eat? 3 meals a day. That's all. No, 1 or 2 snacks. Okay. That is normal for most people. So Ekadashi don't eat. Simple tapas. Or any day you want. I have seen Maharashtrians as a whole following one thing. Okay? Many Maharashtrians are non-vegetarians, except maybe the pure Brahminical community. Okay? Most of them are non-vegetarian. So Monday, Thursday, minimum, they won't have non-vegetarian. Of course, I know many families where they think it is a waste cooking on Mondays and Thursdays. But some minimal tapas is coming in. What you like, you are not having. Tapas. So, in the various ways, developing your sense of will and commitment. What is all this meant for? From all these practices, you distill that pure emotional intent. So your intent is strong. It's important. Your will. Your will, your emotional content in an action, all that has to be strong. Tapas. For that, you have to clear all that is bogging you down. Their emotional content you will never achieve if all these things are bogging your hurt, pain, guilt, anger, all these are bogging you down. Never get into that. You will get undercut yourself. Therefore, clear all that by whatever means necessary. Tapas. That incident, chatter of the mind keeps chattering all the time. Quieten it down. Enjoy that peace within. Otherwise, you keeping on chattering away. Some of you cannot sleep properly in the night because mind keeps chattering there also. No? Yeah. Chatter. Yeah. Quietening that down. Quietening your internal chatter. That's really Maunam. Maunam, keeping quiet is supposed to be an aid, that's all. But this internal chatter. Not only we chatter, a lot of our chatter is very negative. Putting yourself down, demeaning. You have a hyper mind right inside. Don't tell me we don't have. I can point out responses that I have in the class where it's also evident. Even if you put your video off and keep quiet, I know you all well enough, okay? To make out who has a chatter doesn't. Why do you think I like live meetings so much, not online meetings? That chatter, quieten it down. You don't have to keep chattering all the time. Quieten it. Learn to enjoy that peace, that equipoise inside. Another thing for Uparati is that to enjoy that inner quietude, that inner peace. And when we start practicing inner peace, the outside world will find, in the beginning, you will get a lot of disturbances. Have you seen that movie Kung Fu Panda 2? The master Shifu, the tiny guy. Inner peace. What is that chatter out there? Stop it. Inner peace. That's why I teach the other form of meditation. No noise disturbs you. Remember? Whole world enters you only as a thought. The thought is born of you, the consciousness. Dies down into you, the consciousness. Therefore, you are that silent consciousness. Practice that. Then no thought will disturb you. I hope all of you are doing some meditation at least every day, okay? I can see some guilty faces. Nike hai. Okay. Yeah, it's important. Do all this. All this is important as preparing for Vedanta. Okay. Okay. Tapobhi tasya shodhanam. Therefore, purification of the mind is done with all this. So pick and choose what you need in life. There is no one sadhana that fits everyone, unless you are doing karma yoga, which is okay for everyone. Japa dhyanam, applicable for everyone. After that, everything is individualized. That's why no two students in an ashram will be given the same thing. It's always different. Like most of the students were told in the ashram, stay in the ashram, don't go out. As a discipline. Stay in one place. Then Swamiji called me and told me the other way around. You are supposed to go once a week to your parents, okay? Ulta. Probably my vairagya was high enough, so it didn't need to be enhanced further. So, nobody will be given the same thing. What sadhana should I do? When I ask Swamiji, study, that's enough. Shravana Manana Nidhyana, enough. For some he gave puja articles, the small little thing and some this thing and all. Do puja every day in your room. Temple में आरती है, पूजा का है, जाता है ना उधर रोज. Not enough. You do your personal puja also. Some people require that. Some people require that. Some people don't. They require something else. So each person, Karma Yoga is common because you are all in society. Japa Dhyanam is good to have. Common. Anything else depends on what your mind requires. If therapy is what your mind requires, that is a sadhana for you. It is not mere therapy, something to be ashamed of. It's a sadhana for a Vedanta student. Because I am taking care of my mind. Yes. If doing a small puja at home to increase your bhakti, then that's the right thing. You are not becoming ritualistic. No. You are doing that so that the bhakti comes up in you. Good. According to whatever culture you are exposed to, that's fine. Culture, religion, etc., that's okay. You are acknowledging the Lord in your life, that's good. To recognize the play of the Lord in your life and have an emotional response to that. This is good. You are not letting the Lord into your life. The Lord is already there. You are recognizing it. Recognizing and acknowledging. All this becomes Shodhanam, Chitta Shodhana Karanam to help you clear the junk I have accumulated by 30, 40, 50 years of living and experiencing life. You are glad for the experiences because they have made you grow. But along with growth, the flip side also is always there. Therefore, take care of that. The more experiences you have had, chances are good that you have picked up more junk also. Yeah, chances are good. I had picked up so much junk in my life, I'll share this thing just so that you will understand. I had picked up so much of junk in my life, one very early in life, after 71, that when I was doing my marine engineering and all the ragging period and all, I acted very submissive. Why? Because there was so much of anger within me. I was afraid that if I got into a fight with everybody, I may seriously damage that guy. So I put on a persona of being very submissive, etc. So nobody will pick up a fight with me. Because if they picked up, I have anger in me. And so much of anger that I was afraid I'll kill somebody. And I had to work on that, which I did. Everyone needs to do that. There is no one who has become a great teacher or even validated this knowledge in their lives without working on their minds. Not there. I don't know a single one without working on their minds who have done it. Okay. So examine your minds is important. Don't say, Swamiji, I lived now 50 years, abhi kya hai? I examined life. I had so much of experiences. That is why. Because you had so much of experiences. That is why one of the sankalpas that you make in your prayer is what? Parameshwara Prithiyartham Sarva Duritta Kshayartham. All my duritas go. Duritas are not externals here. Duritta Kshaya. Okay. So enough about that. I'm sure you will understand the value of it. Okay. Then he goes further.
Sir, sorry to disturb. Can I ask a question?
Who's this? Pooja. Okay.
Me.
Yeah.
When we talk about Sakshi Bhava,
Hmm.
okay, so when you're working on your mind, when you are looking at the different patterns and everything, does Sakshi Bhava include that also?
Sakshi Bhava helps, yes, but it's very difficult to get to Sakshi Bhava when my mind is full of junk. I will be able to get in small doses, in moments, that Sakshi Bhava coming in. Because just to remain as a witness for a long time or constantly is not possible when the mind has got too much of junk in it. Because all those emotions, strong emotions, will pull me here and there. But having that insight into what it is and being able to witness the thought patterns helps you. So the Sakshi Bhava, even though you are not constantly in that, helps you handle your mind. That's why with little bit of understanding of Vedanta, when you are trying to handle your mind, it's easier. Because you know, at least conceptually, that the mind and you are not the same. It's not a concept, but at least even that much understanding is there. Mind not being you is a fact, not a concept. But even if you have made a concept out of it, it still helps, because you have that distance between you and the mind to look at the mind. So it's definitely a great help. But when the mind is full of nonsense, if you are going to practice too much of Sakshi Bhava, what happens is you will get a dissociative experiences. You will become very dissociated with what you are, with your personality, and that is problematic. I know this lady, an idiot. Okay, that's why I'm not mentioning names, because I'm calling her an idiot. Mind is full of junk. How do you know? I've known her since she was a kid. Okay. I've known her since she was a kid. She's a 3-year-old, 4-year-old. Okay, I've known her. Mind is full of junk. But somewhere, some sort of idiotic exposure to spirituality is there. All these modern gurus, modern writers and non-traditional writers. Therefore, all this practice of meditation does not. She had a dissociative experience. And she thinks now she's a wise person because of the dissociative experience. It's a psychological problem. But she thinks she's special. Another problem added to the another problem added to the thing, to the junk that has to be cleared off. I'm special. All of you have to study to get it. I got it. Got what? A dissociative experience, which is a psychological issue. So the mind is full of junk. This is what will happen.
What is dissociative experience, Swamiji?
You for some time you feel I am not the body, etc. I am something else. I feel I can't connect up. I can't relate to people. I can't relate to my own body. That's a dissociative experience. That's not a samadhi experience. It's a dissociative experience. After a samadhi experience, you will be able to use your body and mind as instruments very nicely. Because it's not you. Therefore, it's an instrument. It can be used. It can be pushed. It can be made to do what you want. In a dissociative experience, you cannot, because you find relating difficult. You can't relate to the body, you can't relate to the mind properly, you can't relate to people. That's a problem. That's a problem. Even one of the great gurus of modern India, one of the most popular gurus today, he says that he says, after samadhi I couldn't relate to my mother. ये क्या बात है? After samadhi I couldn't relate to my business associates. We all have gone into that. We never had that problem. I lost my mother when she was still alive because of my samadhi. Kidhar is that? That means I doubt what your samadhi was. Was it really samadhi or a dissociative experience? or you didn't have enough learning, therefore you didn't know how to relate afterwards. Learning was missing. Problematic all this are. Yeah. Therefore be careful where you are getting into, okay? Then he continued. Does that answer your question? Who is asking?
Yes, Swamiji, thank you.
Somebody else was trying to ask something.
Falguni here.
हाँ Falguni, बोलिए.
Falguni Swamiji.
Yeah.
So denial mode also is a problem.
Yeah, of course. Denial mode is a great problem. When you say there are emotional issues but you are denying it, it's a great issue. It's a big issue. And many of us get into that. Especially when we are students of Vedanta, because we want to be out there, We want to be up there to have understood everything, and therefore we deny our emotional issues. Nothing is gained from that. Better honestly accept it and work on it. Doesn't matter what age you are. I know somebody who was challenged to do it after she was in her 40s. So what? Did it, na? Acha hi. Doesn't matter. In fact, 40s is a good age. You have left your childhood things behind. The whole life, another half of your life is stretching in front of you. You're dealing with your psychological issues, everything. You're mature enough to deal with it. Wow. Next 40 years can be great. Yeah, next 40 years can be great. Moksha, here I come. If you do it in your 30s, even better.
So Swamiji, this disassociating and denial, they are different things. No, I am a little confused about these two. They are
Dissociation is because of that too much of Sakshi Bhava in the mind is not ready for it. And denial is you have psychological issues but you deny accepting it. In fact, some people even may be thinking, Swamiji, इतना टाइम इसका बारे में क्या बात करता है, क्या इशू है? That is called height of denial, okay?
very true, Swamiji.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying everybody has psychological issues, okay? Look into your mind and see it. Shariradi tapah kurya tadhi shuddhartam uttamam mana adi samadhanam taddeha vishesh taddeha visheshanam. Shariradi tapah kuryad. Adi padat, shariram, body. By adi you mean walk, mind, reasoning, all of them. Tapah kuryad. Tadhi shuddhyartama uttamam. That is the best for getting internal purity. Because some work at the physical level also need to be done. Otherwise, will doesn't develop. Lot of psychological issues can be handled purely here. Not will. You don't develop your will unless you do something physical. It can be working 18 hours a day also, that's also fine. But that is damaging to your system. That type of will is damaging to your system. It can be a gentler, there are will development through the body has two things in it. One is pushing yourself to do things, one is restraining from doing things. Pushing is physical activity, exercise, etc. Where you challenge your body, when you work through that laziness, pain, etc. It's painful, uncomfortable. I know we have this problem. I remember my friend was conducting a martial art class in Pedder. So when you have a martial art class, you are learning martial art. Chalo, everyone come on, do push-ups. This 14-year-old stops after 5 push-ups. Can't do any more. Come on, do. So the sensei was a bit tough on him. Come on, push yourself, do. Can't do. Okay, run round this hall 10 times. He required that pushing. So the guy was tough. Now come on, push-ups again. Another 5. Because you can do only 5. Alright, another 5. Now run down 2 circles. Another 5. You're running a martial art, that's how you'll be trained. He goes and complains, and the next day his mother comes to the class. Why are you pushing my son? And one look at the guy, take your son and don't bring him back. He's not ready to run martial arts. Maybe he should learn to play caroms. और क्या बोलेगा इसको? If he goes for a yoga class, same thing. I can't touch my toes. Come on, try a bit more. You can't. वही हो जाएगा उधर भी. Can't. Yoga is a bit gentler. Martial arts is a bit. You can't touch your toes. Try. Sit on the ground and try to touch your toes. Yeah, I will help you. And one push. You will have your hamstrings strained a bit. It's okay. होता है. Martial arts you have to learn to deal with pain. Yoga we won't do it that hard. We have a couple of people who are yoga teachers here. We won't do it that hard. Unless you are in Iyengar school. There thoda hard karega. Yeah. But will come only with physical activity. It won't come without that. That restraint to hold back can come with your religious activities of fasting, this, that, etc. Hold back. Because both you need. Now, will has to be used for both. To push yourself to do things, to pull yourself back, restrain. Both you require well. Yeah. Therefore, Sharira Adi he says. Then mind, etc. you need to work. Major issues are here. Once the will is taken care of, all other issues are here mental. So, tapah kurya, do the tapas necessary to handle them. What will I do? Depends on what is inside. Now, I always evaluate myself with money and things like that. You know, my work is always equated with that. Do some social work then. When you work without money, that will help. Because that's the growth you require. Because all the time you are equating your work with rokada. So learn to do some work without rokada coming in. Yeah, simple. I mean, what is inside according to that? You need not. I have a friend who's a consultant. Okay, he's semi-retired now. But if he gave a concession to his charges and he used to charge a bomb, okay, he was okay as a consultant, nothing great, but he had a lot of contacts and he knew how to network well. Therefore, he used to charge a bomb. If he gave 30% concession to his charges, he would say, I'm doing charity. That 30% concession, with that concession, he is charging much more than other people. But you say this is charity. Because you are always equating yourself with money. That's a poor way to be. How can you equate yourself with only money? How can you equate yourself with money? Therefore, if that is your mindset, then you require to do something free for people. Some seva bhava. Depends on what is inside you. If you don't know how to ask for what you believe, what you deserve, then do that. That's what you need to do. Ulta. Both. So how do I tell you what is to be done? Find out what is inside and then do. Find out what is inside and then do. Yeah, find out what's inside. If there is grief, handle that grief. If there is anger, see where that anger is coming up and then handle it. Is it grief coming up as anger? Or is anger manifesting as grief? Both can happen. Is it guilt inside? And is the guilt because of something you have done or the cultural conditioning that you grew up with? Yeah, because of some of the way we are brought up, we can put a lot of guilt into your mind. Cultural guilt, religious guilt, all that is there. Deal with it. Deal with it. Is there anxiety that you are having in your inside? Deal with that. All this is Shuddhi Karma. All that is Shuddhi Karma. Yeah. So that you become a non-reactive person. You are proactive but not reactive. You have strong emotions, but those emotions are coming up not in a reactive manner. Nor are you afraid of emotions like anger, etc. You can use it when necessary, because anger has got a force about it, which if harnessed can be used very nicely, but use it nicely, not reactive. All this is Shuddhartam Uttamam. This is the Shuddhi that a student of Vedanta requires. Without this, Vedanta won't work in you. You can understand, you can study. Yeah. You can come for 10 classes also. Yeah. Then Manadi Samadhanam Tadiha Visheshanam and Taddeha Vishoshanam. Sorry, Taddeha Vishoshanam. Deha Vishoshanam. You have to put your body through its paces. Vishoshanam can literally mean to emancipate it a bit. Okay. Correct? Hota hai. When you do some practices, okay, fasting, etc., you know very clearly. All of us can afford a bit of fasting. Why? All of us are carrying too much of, most of us are carrying too much of adipose coverings. So a little bit Deha Vishoshanam will be good, except one or two people I see here on the screen. Other than that, most people can afford to have Deha Vishoshanam. Even when you do some advanced pranayamas, etc., your body can be put through problems. Overheating. Okay. In one case, in me, my vagus nerve got stimulated. Vagus is a nerve that comes from the back and goes over to all your organs. It comes from the Latin word to wander, because it wanders all over your body. And you stimulate something like that, you will wonder what is happening to you. Why? You can feel nauseated, you can feel dizzy, you can feel your BP shooting up. Why? Because you did some tapas. Don't worry, quieten it down. Quieten it down. Quieten it down. Do Anulom Vilom, do Brahmari, great for nitrous oxide release. That will calm everything down. So, Deha Vishoshanam will happen as some of these practices. That's okay. Deha Vishoshanam will happen when you are doing fasting, etc. That's okay. So my spondylizers flared up a bit and I went to a physiotherapist just to see whether I could get some traction. Once in 10-15 years it flares up. It's an old problem out of an injury out at sea in my working life. So once in 10-15 years it flares up. Which is livable. 10-15 years में एक बार आ जाएगा तो perfectly livable. So I went to her and to get some traction, etc. And she gave me some things. The traction was not working, but she gave me something else which worked. Okay, fine. All right. Good. Then she asked me, how did you get it? I said, I was doing some practices, uske liye ho gaya. So why did you do all that? I said, this is a used and abused body, you know. Body is meant for use. So कभी-कभी abuse भी हो जाता है. No sir, I wish we will become as fit as you at your age. I said, I'm keeping my fingers crossed. So it is not that just because you do some of these things you don't become fit. People are afraid of that, you know. They have Vishoshnam, oh, my fitness, what will happen? Nothing will happen. You will become fine. You will become fine. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Because it's the mind and will that keeps the body together, not the other way around. Okay. Yeah. All right. And manadi samadhanam. Your reasoning, your thinking, your mind and emotions, etc. Samadhanam. Quietening it down. Think when you have to, not when you don't have to. That in-season chatter. Beautiful emotions. Makes you human. Very good. Have those beautiful emotions. Don't be reactive, emotionally reactive. Deal with that. Emotional reaction is understandable. Deal with that. It's all part of Ishvara's order. But deal with it. It's not only important to focus on the positive, it's also important to take care of some of these things that may be there. Some of these things may be there. Use the strength from your positive emotions to deal with these negative issues that may be there. The positive emotions of love and bhakti, etc. Use that to deal with these negative. Yeah. Love, compassion, bhakti. The strength that comes from these emotions. Use that to deal with whatever the negative that is there. And with whatever modern help, fine. Okay. Then he makes a very interesting comment. We can see this verse also. Manascha indriyanamscha ekagrim paramam tapaha तज्जयाः सर्वधर्मेभ्यः सधर्मः परमुच्यते. Okay. Manascha indriyanam cha. Okay. Manascha indriyanam cha. Ekagrim paramastapah. Ekagrim, that focus that you gain. The mind and the sense organs. How? When you want to think about something, you will think about it. Fine. Ekagrim. You will not be distracted here and there by other things. Otherwise you decide, I must clean up my cupboard today. You start cleaning it up. Then you found some old material in it. Arey, this is such beautiful material here. Then you forgot cleaning the cupboard. You called up your tailor. Then you went to your tailor and you got this thing, etc. Patterns, this, that, etc. What happened to the cleaning up that you are doing? Or you are arranging your books and you found an interesting book. Arey, I didn't know I had this book. You started reading that book. Forgot about arranging your books. Swamiji, does that happen to you? No, I do it by choice, okay? I say cleaning is not important, reading is more important. By choice I do it. If by choice you are doing it, you are okay. What is your focus? That's the idea. Are you losing focus? But Swamiji, I don't see you arranging your books. Correct. I don't focus on that. What I focus, I do. There's no hocus pocus there. So the idea is that the mind can remain where you have kept it. Even if there are disturbances. Because you are listening from home, there will be 101 disturbances at home. Can you say no? I mean, the class is coming home, you are not coming for the class. There will be disturbances. That's okay. Focus. Bring it back. Focus. Focus. Therefore, he says that ekagram paramam mataha, paramam tapaha, gaining that focus, because then the mind will remain with whatever you have. This mind will remain with this knowledge. Mind will help you own up this knowledge. All that will happen. Okay. Tad jayaha sarva dharme bihar. That is better than all the other dharmas that you do. He says. Thoda arthavada, exaggeration, to highlight the importance of it. Tad jayaha sarva dharme bihar. Sadharmaha paramauchyate. This dharma of letting that mind be where it is meant to be. Paramauchyate. Paramauchyate. That's the highest tapas you can do. That's the highest tapas you can do. Yeah. Otherwise you will be distracted. Your mind will be pulled away by the 101 things available to you. Pulled away from the knowledge, pulled away from the learning, pulled away from the owning it up. You'll be distracted in the class, you won't get the point that is being made. All that can happen. Why? Because mind is not focused. So many students are coming. Someone, you really said that in the class? I said, go listen to the recordings and see whether I said it or not. Yeah. You are missing it. Why? Well, the mind went away somewhere. Then by the time you came back, few things had already happened. Especially with a teacher like me who speaks fast. A lot of things will happen. Yeah. So, the ability of the mind. Paramo tapaha, he says, is the great tapas. To be able to keep the mind somewhere and let it remain there. Even in dhyanam, that's important. Japa dhyanam, that's important. The mind remains. Mind remains in silence means let it remain in that silence. Na? That silence is yourself anyway. Let it remain there. Why are you getting distracted? Habitual patterns. Either habitual patterns or the pressure that is there inside you. Pressure can come from raga or dvesha, simple paradigm. What you want or what you don't want. What you like, what you dislike. Even the positive things that you have in you. I must do this, I must do that. Good work. Yeah, helping people. Yeah, good. Or negative emotions, I can't stand that, I don't like this character. So all that can take your mind away from yourself. We get into associative patterns of thinking and go along. Remember that old example? Coconut tree thinking. And jumping from one coconut tree to another. Never coming to ground reality. So same thing happens here. So the ability to focus, he says. Samadhanam, in other words. Mind remaining where you have kept it. One of the greatest tapas you can do. And even if you are distracted by something, because people will demand something from you at home, when you are reading something, etc. Okay, you deal with that and come back to this without losing track. Like you find how many times I digress through a joke or something like that, but always come back to the point at hand. In fact, it's not really a digression. People think it's a digression. It's highlighting it only, that's all. Come back to it. I mean, these are values that is picked up in life. Remember P.B. Shelley's Skylark. There is a poem called Skylark, which we learned in school, written by the English poet P.B. Shelley, where he describes the skylark flying high in the sky, but not losing sight of the nest below. Mind is like that. Focused on what you have to do. Mind remaining in that. Not losing sight of what you have to do. Not losing focus with respect to what you have to do. Not losing focus of Advaita Jnanam. Yeah. All the time that focus is there. You can do 100 things in life, so what? 100 things can be done. But focus. What you need in life is moksha, this knowledge. You can do a million things, but the focus is not lost sight of. So all of it will fall in harmony, they'll align themselves to what you are doing. Nothing need be a disturbance. Everything can enhance your life. In fact, they can enhance your growth as well. Nothing need be a disturbance. It's a disturbance only if you cannot focus. If you can focus, nothing is a disturbance. It is an old story of the student going and asking the master, can I eat an apple while I am meditating? Of course not. Can I meditate while eating an apple? Of course, my son, of course. It seems like a joke. It is not a joke. There is a profound wisdom behind it. It's presented as a joke, but there is a profound wisdom there. Okay. Yeah. Any questions, or it's all clear? If it's all clear, good place to stop. If I go into another verse, it will take another 20 minutes. So, good place to stop.